Hello and welcome to Straight Dude Date Night, a show where two straight dudes go on a date and they review it. My name is David Stallings and I am one of these straight dudes.
And I am Ricky Rivera, the other straight dude.
Today, we just saw the brand new Wes Anderson movie, Asteroid City, which I don't know what I just watched. It was kind of wild.
Interesting,
thought-provoking. These are words that I think many people will use to sound smart afterwards without understanding.
I think if we talk directly almost at the same time, we could basically fit into these movies.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wish I was in the atmosphere.
Yes, but the atmosphere, it is so high.
But the ground is closer.
So we must go underground. This is our Wes Anderson movie.
Dude, he's gonna hate it. He's gonna hate it. He hates remakes of his own work.
Yeah, we just remade the whole movie.
Don't ever do anything I do. It's mine. It's like I feel like Wes Anderson in real life might be a big baby.
Yeah.
I mean, he seems like a really nice guy, but when he gets mad, he's just like stomps around, you know?
It's a temper tantrum from a 2-year-old kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Is that what you think?
Yeah, but not in like a I'm better than everybody snobby kind of way. And I'm just really mad. I don't want to get it out. I got to write it. Give me my journal.
Yeah.
Love Wes Anderson, though. I'm talking a lot of smack. But
dude. I have actually, contrary to the podcast that we do, I only really started watching movies after we started the podcast. So I actually realized last week I had never seen a Wes Anderson movie after I went and looked through everything and was very shocked to remember all the trailers for many of them, but had never seen one before.
Yeah.
So sorry to anyone who's like, "How dare you?" I've watched The Life Aquatic now, and now Asteroid City, and both are phenomenal. So spoiler alert on my rating.
Yeah, spoiler alert. For those of you who are here and excited about Wes Anderson being, doing a Wes Anderson episode, I'm going to preface it with, I'm so sorry. I'm not as smart as you, and I will never fully understand the depth of Wes Anderson's films. But from a guy with a GED standpoint, I enjoy Wes Anderson a lot, and I feel like I get a general idea of what he's going for.
Yeah.
But I know for some people out there, it goes so much deeper.
There's a whole deeper meaning. How did you not get it?
Sorry if we don't touch on it and you caught it and we didn't.
Yeah,
they'd start a podcast and talk about it.
And yell about this horrible podcast you just listened to where we didn't mention anything about whatever you think the movie was about. But honestly, I think
if you do that, I'll sue. There you go. Now it's
done. It's in the air. It's going to happen.
Go ahead. Talk smack.
Do it. You won't. Bet. I do think the majority of people, though, will walk away from this, whether or not they're like, oh, they appreciate the deeper meaning or not. I think people are going to walk away generally very happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, it's just the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Even the colors alone, like the way he does his movies.
Very vibrant.
You can watch it without sound and just be like, I feel like this is good.
Yes.
I like what I'm watching. It's just visually pleasing.
Yeah. But I need to try and do a synopsis for it, because if I don't, I always think about that. What if I just didn't do the synopses, like when we first started the podcast? Does it matter?
This is one of those ones where you could.
I could, but I think that would detract significantly from this review, because no one will know anything about what we're talking about.
That's a good point.
Maybe they don't know it generally anyway, but still, this one was so wacky. I have to give something, right? So I will try my best on this. Also, a note, because it's one of those movies where like you don't really know what the story is going into it. I'm going to spoil everything right here. So just so you're aware. Okay. First off, what was the main character's name? It was Augie, right?
Well, I mean,
Augie.
You want the play name or you want the real? No,
the play name.
The play name is Augie.
Augie. Okay, because
his real name is something else.
We're going with the play names. Okay. Because that's the majority of the film. Okay, I will try to summarize this quickly. So, Asteroid City is portrayed as a biographical documentary play that you are watching. So it goes back and forth between the documentary of the playwright actually writing the play Asteroid City, and then we go to the performance of it as if it were a play, but it is all being filmed instead. So you have like a full set, a full location, everything, but there are elements of the movie that it's clear someone just messed up or they walked into the scene too early or stuff like that. It's very, very sudden moments that remind you, oh yeah, this is supposed to be a play. I think that's important to just state right out of the gate, because that was such an innovative idea that I really enjoyed.
It was fun.
It was fun. There's one moment in particular we'll talk about later. But from that, the play is broken up into 3 acts. The first act takes place over the course of a day, where a bunch of people arrive in Asteroid City, which is a small town at the border between California and Arizona. And at this location is the site of a crater where a meteorite crashed 5,000 years ago, and it's still a study site for studying the stars. Also, some ways away, they do like atomic bomb tests, and that's not relevant to the story other than atmosphere. A bunch of people arrive in this town because their children are being entered into a scholarship for $5,000, where they all created something world-changing, some scientific idea. As a result of that, I think it was Act 2 where it happened. That was it the first day that
Act 1 is with the aliens.
Yeah, how did Act 1 end? Was that
Act 1 ended with the alien coming down to take the asteroid.
Yes. Okay. So
Act
1 is we watch the whole first day unfold as all of these people are meeting, entering the town, and by the end they get to do this whole ceremony where they get to look up at the stars on the specific day where they'll see a cool sighting. Turns out on this night, an alien actually shows up to take a meteor artifact on the ground and then just leaves, and everyone sees this in broad daylight.
And he very politely told them today. But nobody could decipher the code.
No one could decipher the code at all, but the code was right there. It said today it was going to happen. Act 2 is they are now under quarantine, trying to figure out what to do. How do we move on? Can we leave? Who actually won? Everyone's in distress, basically. And they are under quarantine and all this stuff. How did that end? God, this was a crazy movie.
Act 2 ends with the kids.
They sent a message. They got a message out telling the world basically about the alien that happened.
Because the government's trying to cover it up and is trying to get them to come up with good cover stories. And the kids end up finding a way to sneak the information out, telling the world. And then Act 3 begins with, it's like a carnival almost outside of Asteroid City.
Right outside of the quarantine zone.
As if it was like Area 51.
Yes, that's definitely the vibe of it. Of just a bunch of people there being like, hey, the aliens were here. That's so cool. And all of this stuff as they are now. Act 3 is basically the reckoning of like, what does the fact that aliens exist, what does that mean for us as humans in the grand scheme of things? Like, what is the purpose of life? That is the main idea that they start really dealing with in Act 3. And then everyone just leaves. They just leave and go home.
Epilogue.
At the epilogue. That's it. That's the whole movie. There is so much more from that we'll go into, but that is the general flow of this movie. It's gonna be ridiculous trying to get this all in.
It's gonna be a weird one for sure for people who aren't gonna see this and are listening.
Yeah.
And for the people who did see it, you're also probably gonna think it's weird.
Yeah. I do want to say straight up, this movie was probably one of the most interesting I think we have seen throughout the entirety of this podcast.
Yeah, it was a great movie. My only concern with it when we were going into it, I told you about it before, was that from the trailers at least, it looked very Wes Anderson.
Like too much.
Like almost too much. Yeah. Like I felt like it felt like we were trying to, they almost felt like somebody was trying to make a good Wes Anderson movie to imitate Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
Is almost what it felt like. After watching it, there are some moments like that, but there's still so much uniqueness to it that he has, and like his own little touches that are in there, which is so fun. So I still think it's a great movie, and I don't think it's too over the top hit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hit. I mean, he has his hand in the whole thing. Obviously.
Oh yeah.
You can tell from every moment. But it doesn't give the vibe that I felt like what I did from the trailer. It's kind of I know that's a weird statement to say.
Yeah.
But those who have seen his movies before will hopefully understand.
Yeah, and I think I wanna state, because I literally just saw my first Wes Anderson movie this week, and I've always known he's a great filmmaker, but I never knew what a Wes Anderson movie meant. So for those who have not seen any of his stuff too, I want to just elaborate on that. Of what the vibe that I get from it is that it is very what's the word? It is very pushy in its vibrant aesthetics throughout the entirety of his films. That everything is
so quirky.
It's quirky and pops out constantly. Meanwhile, the vibe of every single character is extremely direct and to the point, to a comedic level, because they are so direct with one another.
It's like almost dry humor, but
it's dry the entire time.
Yeah, it's dry with a different twist on it though, because it's not the same kind of dry humor you're used to. It's got a little bit of color in there.
Yeah.
It's like you're hearing dry humor from a colorful standpoint. That sounds so crazy to say, but that's really the vibe I get.
Yeah. And I'm shocked I've never seen one of these movies, because that type of humor, that at least with these two movies I've seen of his now, that kind of humor, bro, that is the exact type of comedy that I love so much. I love dry humor, just like to the point stuff that's just out of nowhere. That is so funny to me. I was laughing during this entire movie.
Yeah. It's fun. This is definitely a funny movie.
Even if it is a little existential.
Yeah. That's the thing he always has in his movies, is some sort of existential thing and some sort of deeper meaning behind the things that are going on. But I think that's like what's so fun about it is, even if you're not into the whole deep meaning aspect of it, if you enjoy dry humor, you're gonna have a great time.
Yeah.
Like that's how I feel a lot more with, like, you watched The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, and that personally is my favorite movie, because I think if you want to watch it for an emotional standpoint, it's very, like, it has a pretty heavy heart on it. But if you want to watch just like a comedy, it also is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's so everybody just has a gun. Like, it's just such a dumb little like point where it's just like, he's like, oh, I'm the adventure club guy, and then he just pulls out a gun.
Yep, we all just have them.
The interns all share one. Everybody gets a gun.
Any new explorers, they get a gun immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just so... I just love that the world building of it is very poignant about, like, yeah, it's going to be ridiculous. That's the point. You're going to deal with it.
And it's not our world, too. That's the whole thing he gets across, is like, we're obviously not on our Earth. And that's totally fine.
Yeah.
That's why the world is so quirky like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's not trying to... Wes Anderson's never really trying to relate it to, like, this movie has to represent modern day America. It's like, no, he's just created his own world here.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, there's similarities, but even in this one, it's like, the Asteroid City, that's not a real place.
No.
This is not
I would be surprised to find out if it was.
This is not how people would have functioned if they came across an alien.
No. Everyone is extremely calm. They're more upset. This was so great that the alien shows up and everyone is just dumbfounded, which I think is realistic. And then the response the next day is like, okay, cool. That was interesting. But the issue that they start to have is that they are quarantined.
Yeah.
They are more mad that they're still quarantined after the alien showed up than they are about feeling existential of an alien showing up.
Yeah, which I think the quarantine aspect is one of, like, the meanings in there too, is like showing just how stir crazy they're getting. Because you can tell, like, as the days goes on, it's not necessarily that they're like stir crazy from what they saw. They're just more like, okay, we get it. We saw an alien. Get me out. Please.
Now we can do nothing but think about it because you've trapped us here.
They definitely wrote that in because of COVID. I guarantee you the quarantine arc doesn't exist.
Well, I think that...
Because that was like, they've already said that wouldn't exist if it wasn't for COVID.
Yeah, because that's something that we've never the idea of the quarantine lockdowns when that happened is something that I don't think anyone has ever comprehended, at least in modern times. So to have that happen, and now it's like, oh, this is what a quarantine would actually look like. People would just be mad that they have to be home. They just are stir crazy. That's the realistic answer to it.
I mean, literally, the only reason Bill Murray is not in this movie is because of COVID.
Really?
He caught COVID right before production started, and they couldn't move production. So they just recasted him as Steve Carell.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
It breaks his 20-something year streak of being in every Wes Anderson film.
That's so
He was
sad.
supposed to be Steve Carell, which, thinking about it, that would have been hilarious. That would have been a great role for him.
Yeah.
Just being like the guy who runs these motels is Bill Murray. Just like, yeah, man, things, I don't know, your house burned down.
Yeah.
You're staying in a tent.
That said, I really enjoyed Steve Carell in it.
Oh, he was great.
Because his whole vibe really fit that character too. I think Bill Murray would have killed it as well. That's really disappointing to hear though, that's why that happened.
It's literally the only reason he wasn't in it. It's just because he caught COVID the week they started filming.
Bro, that's the thing with the productions though, man. You can't mess around with the dates on it. It's extremely difficult to move anything.
Well, especially when a lot of the scenes had all the characters in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't imagine how hard that would have been. In fact, any scene with Steve Carell, everybody's there.
Yeah.
So his scenes would have been the hardest to reshoot.
Yeah.
Because every single time he was on the screen, every character, every major actor was in the scene also.
Yeah. Especially I think on day one, they had the dinner scene where every group of people was at their own table, and that I'm pretty sure it seemed like it was one continuous shot that we went from table to table to table to table and saw every single person's conversation going on.
Yeah, which they probably, again, this is right after COVID films, so they probably all were near each other the whole time anyway.
Yeah.
That's probably why this production was so hard, because it was just everybody was here.
Mm-hmm.
Just everybody stay around. We're just gonna quarantine it up.
Yeah.
Just stick around, just get this done.
Yeah. But I thought the entire concept was fascinating. You and I have talked a lot about on this show what makes a good movie, and it's what you take away from it. And I feel like this is the kind of movie where you are likely to take something away from it. Right? Because it was the whole thing was existential. They're constantly talking about what is the meaning of life. Is it anything or is it nothing? And I think that's going to make a lot of people who watch it think. Did you get that vibe through this?
Yeah. There's so many different tones. Because there's that. I think that's the overarching tone of it. But I think each act has a different tone.
Yeah.
Because act one is really more so dealing with grief. Where the dad is dealing with his grief by not telling anybody, and he's thinking about abandoning his kids.
Yeah.
He just doesn't know what to do with himself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then it shows from the kid's perspective of, the son, he's trying to figure it out, figure if he knew the whole time or not.
Mm-hmm.
And the girls are it's okay, we don't understand it yet. They're too young.
Yeah.
So it just shows the different layers of grief.
Mm-hmm.
I think Act 2 really shows a lot more, because Act 2 focuses more on the kids.
Yeah.
And so I think Act 2 is definitely a more trying to find your place, I guess, in everything.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot more with the little girl, the daughter of the actress, where she's just I just feel like my mom, she just doesn't really care,
Yeah.
And even the mom says it in Act 2 where she's I don't
care about my daughter.
My daughter's not my number one priority.
I love
feel
her,
bad.
but she's not. But I don't experience guilt.
Yeah, I don't feel guilty that she's not my number one priority, but I feel bad that I'm not guilty.
Yeah.
Kind of vibe. And so it's there's that, and then Act 3 just wraps everything together into all these things really just come together. And what is your purpose here? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I think there's just so many different meanings throughout it.
Yeah.
Because that's why I told you grief. Because I went on the drive home, before we left, I was I think the movie talks a lot about grief, and you're it's really more so like this. So I started breaking down the acts, thinking about it in my head.
Yeah.
I was thinking about okay, what act? What was the arc for each act? Mm-hmm. The TV side of it, when we cut to the guy writing, I don't know what the. That dude was that was crazy. Anything outside of Asteroid City, I don't know.
So
that's where I'm confused.
Because So actually thinking about it, I think it's funny. So the thing that you may have taken from this, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, may have been more about the grief aspect, which is primarily the actual play itself, is a lot of grief and shame for not feeling the way you should or trying to find your place in the world. And I think that the aspect that I took away from it when we were having the discussion right after seeing the movie was mainly based on the biographical side, which was showing the playwright trying to write the play. And then we see eventually one of the actors in the play leave the play to go talk to the director to try and understand the play, and then ending the movie with a very odd chant of you can't wake up if you never sleep, I think is what they were saying. And that I took so much more away from those moments than I did the whole play.
That's so interesting because I took more away from the actual play itself than the story.
Not to say, like, I do think the biography side was whack. It was very bizarre. But for me, I took a lot more, and they talked about this in the actual play as well, that this idea of what is our purpose, what is the meaning of life. And I think the biography side was really focusing on a metaphor of, like, what is the meaning of the play?
Yeah.
What is the meaning of the play? As an actor trying to get into the character, I don't understand the play. And we've done it several hundred times, Mr. Director. What am I supposed to do? Am I just supposed to feel guilt and like my heart is breaking every day as I play this character over and over again? And he's, yeah, that's, you're not going to get it. And I really think that was if people are going to fight for a deeper meaning of the movie, I think they're going to dive into that more. Side more, because I think that was alluding to the idea of what is the meaning of life? What is my purpose? I've been here so long, I don't know what it is. And that's kind of the point. Your purpose in life is to make the most of it with what you will.
Yeah.
You have to make the decision for yourself on what it is. No one can define that for you. That is the stuff I took away from the movie more than from the play. Which I find fascinating that there's two whole different areas that you can pull from in this movie.
That's a lot of his movies are like that, though. That's the beauty of it, is like you can see so many different angles through it. Like for me with like Life Aquatic, I know we keep going back to it, but it's so fresh in your mind.
Yeah. Thank you.
The thing for me for Life Aquatic is more so the depression side of Steve Zissou, of just like, gosh, just like that dude he's just so depressed.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know how to show it in any way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. But people, I'm sure, get different things that they cared about from the movie. Mm-hmm. I know some people, they follow the aspect of it of revenge isn't worth it always, right? Because it's kind of like the whole plot of the movie is that he's getting revenge on the shark. For me, it's like, dude, you got to learn to deal with your emotions.
You got to learn to move on from some things, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's always different meanings. I mean, somebody else might think like, oh, it's actually about just singing David Bowie songs in German or whatever that one dude's doing.
Yeah. That guy's great.
Yeah. That dude actually, that is totally off topic, but kind of on topic. The only reason that dude is in there is because David Bowie saw that guy doing covers of his songs. And he was just like, I like that guy. You should use him.
What?
Instead of using my stuff. And Wes Anderson was like, yeah. Okay. It's a good idea. Just buds.
That's hilarious.
Yep. Just buds.
Wow. Well, what's interesting too, with going into the idea of like both of the themes that we've brought up with this movie of grief and the meaning of life, which are two very heavy topics. Both of them are topics that you can pull different things from. And going into like meaning of life, like what I just said is my belief on it. Life is what you make of it, right? Yeah. But depending on who you are if you're religious, if you're not, some certain ideologies that you may have, like if you go into that aspect of the movie more, you may take something radically different away from it, which I think is the beauty of this movie.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's purpose in life is so vastly different, right? We got the kid we have the kids who are just trying to find their place in life.
Yeah.
Because what they do is so unique, being astrologists and just wanting to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
But they're so confused on if that's what they actually want to do because they want to do it or because they're good at it.
Yeah, because they're so smart that it's like, okay, I guess I have to do something that only a smart person could do. Like, I think that's a whole nother thing to take away from it too, is like, and this is true for everyone. Everyone is radically different, and these 5 kids bond over this difference that they all have, that they are all considered extremely smart, but all of them are unsure of their place in the world because it doesn't feel like there's anywhere for them.
Yeah, everybody's is totally different. I mean, even down to the dad. The dad, he it's so funny because he's a photographer, and his whole thing is that he's meant to be finding moments in life to capture, right? Is his whole thing. But deep down, he genuinely doesn't think anything in life has meaning. Mm-hmm. Because he's at a point in his life where he's willing to just go abandon his kids.
Yeah.
Even though it's funny because he finds the beauty in things in the moment that he's doing. This is why he's capturing pictures. Why he takes a picture of Scarlett Johansson and he's like, hold on, I love this moment, like right here.
Yeah.
Is what he's thinking. But in reality, he's also struggling with, I don't know what life is about. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing for Scarlett Johansson. Totally different than everybody else's. Her whole thing is work. I got to be successful and famous.
Yeah.
That's my meaning of life. But deep down, I just saw an alien and I feel nothing. Right. Like that's how everybody's trying to say is like, we're all like, they're all so caught up in what they're trying to figure out for themselves that when they see the alien, all of them are like, I don't even know what
are we doing?
I can't even figure out my own life. I can't figure out an alien. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
Even Steve Carell, his whole life is just a simple life. Mm-hmm. He just runs a little motel outside of where they test atom bombs.
Trying to convince people to buy little tennis court plots of land.
He wants people to invest in his town. He knows one day it's going to be popular.
Yep.
It's just his whole meaning in life. Like everybody's life is just so vastly different. Mm-hmm. The grandpa, his whole thing is he just didn't even care much about his own. He talks about it how he, the way he grew up and how he's only cares about the ones he loves and everybody else screw up.
Yeah.
So there's so many different meanings that you can gain, which is just so interesting. So there's a lot of people that you're bound to connect with some character here or there, right?
Yeah.
Like for Scarlett Johansson, I don't really connect with her character a whole lot, but I like the dad's character a whole lot more. Mm-hmm. But for you, it might be totally different on who you connect to more.
Yeah. Well, I think the scene that really hit me out of nowhere was I really did enjoy the dad. It's funny, I took more away from like I think I just liked that character because we also got to see him as an actor in the biography side as well. Mm-hmm. So we saw this really cool dynamic for that specific man. But I really, there were 2 scenes with him. One is where he out of nowhere places his hand on the grill, which he's making his grilled cheese on. And he just puts his hand on there and burns his palm. Yeah. And Scarlett Johansson's like, that actually just happened. You actually just did that. And he's like, I don't know why I did that. Which leads to him freaking out about, I don't understand the play. Because he fully acknowledges it in the scene of, I don't know why I did that. Why is that written there? Yeah, like there's a certain part where he says that. He's like, why do I have to put my hand on the stove there?
Because he says like the lines aren't clear or something like that.
The lines aren't clear, yeah. And that was just like, I don't know. That was so interesting to me. Like I still am trying to ponder what does that part mean, but it stuck out so much to me. But even for him, the character's like, why'd I do that? I don't understand the play.
I did love those moments where they acknowledge what was going on. Like when Scarlett Johansson's like, read that line. Read the page. Yeah. She's like, do you want to see the nude scene? Like, like just like, like they're just like, all right, come on, let's just get the play going here. Mm-hmm. Let's just keep it moving.
Well, I love that the dialogue in these Wes Anderson movies, and especially with this one, all of the dialogue is so direct. And it's something I notice more because something I've been learning as I'm trying to become a better actor is intention behind lines.
Right.
That there's a lot of scripts that I've read, that I've been handed for different sets and everything, that the lines my character is meant to read or say is not quite, they're not the exact words that the character is trying to say, which is what a lot of people actually do. We all struggle to actually say the thing that's actually on our mind.
Yeah.
Where we can say, I love you to someone, but the intention behind it is it's actually very nasty. And so there's this whole idea that I've been learning more about of when reading through scripts, write out what am I actually trying to say to the other person with this line. And I love that with the Wes Anderson writing, it's all of the writing is intentionally just direct. Right. Every single character says exactly the exact thing that is on their mind at any given moment. Like the kid who has to do the dares all the time, he's constantly trying to do something stupid and have someone dare him to do it.
Dare me.
And his dad freaks out and is saying something direct to him of like, I'm so done with this. Why do you need to do this all the time? And the kid just says straight up of like, I'm scared that if I don't do that, then no one will notice me and my life will have very little meaning if I'm not noticed. And it's like, it comes off funny the way it's like, you don't hear people talk like that.
Yeah.
And the character is very emotional saying it, but it comes off very unique. And I love that. I think that's so interesting.
Yeah.
I love that kind of writing. I think it's dope.
Yeah, I think it's a genuine moment too between it. Like it feels almost as if that wasn't necessarily written in, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that is, man, the so many different story angles, cuz again, that kid's storyline, totally different than everybody else's.
Of that idea of I feel like I'm alone in the world and I'm not going to be noticed. Like, that is a genuine thing that some people deal with still. Like, yeah, that is something else that people will draw from it, which I really do think that's one of the coolest ideas. One of the coolest things you can do with a film is if you're able to convey so many messages all at once, and it doesn't feel like the movie was only an hour and 45 minutes. Did you realize that?
Yeah, not too long. It was
nice. Super quick.
It flowed very well too. Like it's hard to follow, obviously, if you're like half paying attention, I guess.
You cannot pay half attention to this movie. This movie requires focus.
Yeah, but it's not in the level of like Inception focus where it's like, what layer are we in?
Yeah,
it's more so
the trippiness that's going on now.
Yeah, it's more so you have to focus only for the sense of like you may miss why the film is the way it is. Mm-hmm. And I know that sounds kind of snarky, but it's like that he's just trying to give life lessons in a very colorful, funny way.
I'm of the opinion this entire episode's gonna come off snarky, and I'm gonna just own it.
Hey man, look, there are people who are way more snarky about Wes Anderson than we are, so I really don't feel that bad.
True.
The real ones out there recognize real, and if you're not a Wes Anderson fan, I mean that's the thing about him too. He's very easily not liked, like because there's some people that just don't really like. They're like our friend Colton. He may not enjoy Wes Anderson. I don't know this to be fact. I probably am totally spitting lies, but it's just using him as an example. Mm-hmm. The way he watches movies is totally different than what you and I expect from them. Yeah. Like you and I want a good story, good, message, whatever it may be. Or even if it's not a message, it's just as long as it does what it's meant to do. Mm-hmm. And he's on the other side of, I just want to watch a movie to kind of just forget.
Well, what's funny about, let's talk about our good friend Colton.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? When I was watching Life Aquatic and Asteroid City, both of those movies, I was actually thinking the opposite with them, that I think these are movies that Colton would love.
Yeah.
Because Colton's humor, him and I have very similar humor.
Oh, he likes Wes Anderson. I know he does. It just came to mind because I know he mentioned it on the podcast when we were...
Oh, that was snarky.
We'll
never forget it.
For like when he was talking about John Wick, and he's like, it's just a movie. It's like...
Yeah.
He just enjoys the movies because it's just a movie, you know? Like you and I are more so like... Nah, what's the science? Mm-hmm. But we also have a podcast where we have to break it down.
Right. I do think a potential turnoff for this movie is going to be the very end, though.
Oh, they're not going to like it. Like I know for a fact my mom would hate this movie and doesn't like Wes Anderson, only because she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to have to sit down and pay that much attention when she watches a movie. She got 3 kids at home still. She just wants to watch a movie that is sick. You know what I mean? Like, this is not a movie she would enjoy.
Yeah. I just think that that very end scene though of them on the stage going, what is the chant that they were doing?
Yeah, you had it. If
you can't wake up if you don't fall asleep.
If you don't fall asleep, you can't wake up.
And they just start chanting that over and over again. And then the weird alien that we saw earlier comes on stage. And then the movie just ends. And that's
he just brings the asteroid.
Yeah. And that's that. I think it went into the epilogue after that.
It went into the epilogue.
But that was like that was the end of the movie, was that part. And I think there will be a lot of people that are like, okay, I don't get it. Like there was I'm pretty sure I heard this. There was a woman in the theater in our row who at some point someone had a line in the movie where they said straight up, I don't get it. And the lady nearby went, me either.
Which is so funny because on the other side where I'm sitting, they're sitting there going like, that was amazing. Yeah. That's like a masterpiece. So it's so polarizing.
Yeah.
Right? Because like the guys next to me were like, wow, like that's his best work right there. Like, you know what I mean? Like they got it. They were just like lasered in. And then there's me who's like, I was with you, but the alien is just so goofy looking. It's the only thing I'm looking at.
Bro, I cannot get over the weird CGI that he uses in all of his movies.
It's like a claymation.
It looks so weird. Because the alien, you know what's funny is like a movie I was thinking that this kind of compared to was Nope, where with that movie too, we all knew there was going to be an alien involved with it going into the movie, but we didn't know what the alien would look like. And that was like one of the coolest parts of the movie, was actually seeing what the whole alien situation was. But with this, we had the same dilemma of we don't know what the alien situation really is. Yeah. And then it showed up and it looks like a 5-year-old made it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just like, yep, that's just the animation we use. Suck it up. It costs $10 to make.
Yeah. I loved that. That alien looks so goofy. I was laughing the whole time. It's the same style of art though he uses in Life Aquatic that he made like 20 years ago.
Yep.
It's the same style.
All the animals have the same weird look to them.
Yeah, I loved that. It's the only way to describe it is if what you think like hard drugs would make something look like. Mm-hmm. Like this is what a cartoon, like this is what the people use to draw cartoons when they're like, this is your mind on shrooms. Yeah. That's the exact like vibe I get whenever I see those.
Yeah, that was so ridiculous. You know what's funny? So you and I were very obviously the loudest people in our theater. We were laughing so hard through this.
As always, I'm always the loudest.
You are definitely the loudest, which makes me laugh even more. And then we both end up being the loudest people in the room. But the people, when that happened with the alien showing up, everyone seemed just dumbfounded, similar to the characters in the movie. But we were dumbfounded looking at it. And then you and I broke the ice with laughing. And then everyone else just started being like, what is going on? And laughing with it.
It's funny.
Oh my gosh.
It's meant to be funny. Look, if Wes Anderson wanted to make a cool looking alien and make that scene serious, he could have. Mm-hmm. It's not hard.
Yeah.
I mean, a guy of his status.
Yeah, no, it is hard. I don't know how to do it.
No, it's hard.
They have the money.
But I mean, if I had his kind of money and his kind of experience, 20, 30 years of experience, I think I could probably make a pretty decent looking alien.
We'll figure it out. We'll make something look good.
There's no way. I mean, bro, the connections he has is very much flexed on who he has in his freaking movies. Mm-hmm. He has Scarlett Johansson. That's Black Widow. That's like the third most popular Avenger in the world, according to Endgame. Because they really had to focus on her because we all loved Black Widow.
Mm-hmm. Yes, of course.
Besides the point.
Besides the point.
But like, no, that's the humor of it. Is it just it's meant to be goofy looking.
Yeah, and I mean, just the idea of what the alien looked like. I want to be in the room when they were trying to figure out. All right, what do we make the alien look like? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's.
My daughter drew this.
Perfect. Yeah, just long, lanky stick man.
Yeah, long, lanky stick man. Here we go.
That's great idea. And now all right, perfect. Looks bizarre.
I loved that. That was anytime we had the alien, I was like, bro, more alien. I love the alien.
I did not want more. I mean, not that it was.
Looking.
I just thought it was hilarious, but I was like, get off the screen. Get off the screen. I can't do this.
I loved it.
I can't do this.
It looks so creepy.
Yeah.
I know. And one of my favorite parts about the alien thing we haven't even talked about is like everybody's trying to process what the alien was, you know, like the kids are like, oh, maybe they're trying to communicate with Earth and set up a economic system, you know what I mean? Like we could set up a communication device and learn
set up
what's going
trade
on.
or something.
Yeah. And then the government people are like, no, we're under attack.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the dad who's like, I didn't like the way he looked at me.
Yeah.
He just looked at us like we're doomed.
Yeah, he had like a doom look on him.
But not in the sense that like I didn't get the vibe that he was threatened by the alien, that the alien's gonna come down and do something.
Mm-hmm.
It was just more so like, we're just doomed.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell, man? Get off my back.
And meanwhile, I love that we actually get an answer too on what the alien was doing, because he picked up the meteorite like fossil thing, and then at the end of the movie brings it back, and they're like, he inventoried the item. That's all he was doing.
Just taking inventory.
Just taking inventory. Literally marked it.
Yep.
And that's it.
Make sure we know where our asteroids are.
Yeah.
See you guys. Yeah.
That is
It's hilarious.
That's so funny. Everyone's freaking out. And alien's just like, nah, this was just a job I had to do.
Dude, when he posed too, he's like smiles.
Yeah, brings up the orb to his face.
Oh, that was great.
And I love to. I felt like they were digging a little bit at, the UFO conspiracy people who take pictures of some random thing and it's always super bad quality, so no one can identify what the thing is they're looking at. And I felt like they were digging at that a little bit, where the main character Augie takes a photo of the alien right in front of him with his camera, and then the next day, every day he was just printing out all the photos he took. He prints it out, and Scarlett Johansson is like, "Oh, it came out," and he's like, "Yeah, my photos always come out."
Yeah. Yeah.
What did you think was gonna happen? I took a picture. Why would it not come out?
You think he's not going to be on the screen or something? Like what? Hilarious.
Dude, I am not going to forget some of the crazy moments with these movies too. Just I was quoting Life Aquatic to you all day today. And I'm not going to, just the scene of Augie rehearsing a scene with Scarlett Johansson, and he's reading his lines, and he's like, there's an action here for me I have to throw everything off the shelf, and he's not the one auditioning, but I have to throw everything off the shelf, and she just says, then throw everything off the shelf, and he just starts destroying the room that he's in.
Yeah, he just breaks the light. Yeah.
Throws everything around, and then very nonchalantly goes into his next line. I love the writing. I think the writing for this movie was great.
Yeah, the writing is hilarious, and the way they deliver their lines are all so smooth too.
Yeah,
just the way everybody is, delivering it feels so fun.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily a natural way of doing it. It's just very fun. It's unique. That's what makes it so unique too, is the way he delivers his lines and the way he wants people to talk to each other and interact.
Yeah, and I would imagine that would be really tough roles to do. I feel like I would struggle not to laugh constantly with how monotone all of the lines have to come out, of just matter of fact to the point, and it's so unnatural. None of us do that.
Yeah, it's got to be. It definitely takes a lot of work and a lot of understanding of how your director wants it done, I'm sure.
Yeah,
because Wes Anderson is also known for being super shy, so he doesn't necessarily. I'm trying to convey this. He doesn't like working with new people. It's probably the best way to put that.
Interesting.
He has a hard time directing things if he's not personal with the people he's working with. You know what I mean? He makes it very personal. So I'm sure it's very fun filming those lines, because I'm sure it takes a lot to do. You definitely are messing it up all the time, and it's got to be so nice to just hear him just be like, "It's okay, guys. It's all good."
It's okay.
I did read about the nudity scene that he did, because it's pretty funny. So there's a scene where Scarlett Johansson is kind of nude.
Yeah,
you see, it's like
see her
half
through
a
a mirror.
second through a mirror and it's blurred. It's not really a nude, but she is nude IRL.
Okay.
And I was reading that she actually directed that whole scene because Wes Anderson just felt so uncomfortable doing it. Like he just could not be there to do it.
He wrote the script.
Yeah, I know.
Bro, you
Which is
didn't have to
hilarious.
write that then.
I think it's just hilarious. Well, no, because she was like, she's the one who convinced him apparently.
Oh, okay.
I was reading that like she was the one that was like, no, like keep it in. Like this, we have to do that scene. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I don't care. I'll do it. And she said she wasn't uncomfortable about filming the nudity. She was only uncomfortable because she had to direct. Ha! And that's a big role to do.
Yeah.
To make things all quirky like Wes Anderson. And he apparently was just like a little schoolboy and just did not want to do it at all. Because he was like, ew, gross. It's my friend. I can't do it. He said the only time he was ever okay with doing a nude scene was with William Dafoe. And that's only because he was so impressed with what he saw.
Oh my gosh.
Literally the only, like he said he was not impressed. He said he was distracted.
Okay.
He said he was just way too distracted by what he was seeing that it didn't bother him as much.
Oh my god.
But he's like, but with Scarlett Johansson, she's a friend. He was like, it's just too weird for me.
That is so funny.
Which also, I thought about that too. This movie's rated PG-13. That's like a pretty rare list, right? Of movies. I don't know if that to be fact, but I'm sure the list is small of movies that are PG-13 and have nudity.
I didn't know. I thought it was R. I didn't realize it was PG-13.
There's like no cussing in this movie at all. I can't think of one moment where there was like a big F-bomb.
Yeah, if there was, it's not memorable. I don't remember that at all.
Very subtle.
Yeah.
Very clean movie, yeah.
Man.
Which is funny because he's fairly clean, but like still has a lot of cussing. I mean, you've only seen obviously Life Aquatic, but his other movies, like the animated ones, like Fantastic Mr. Fox, has no cursing. Isle of Dogs, I don't remember having any. So yeah, it's not something that he's like super heavy into using.
Yeah.
I think he just uses it when he thinks it's appropriate.
Interesting. Which I like that idea because I don't think unless like the cussing is necessary, it just feels over the top sometimes with a lot of movies now.
Yeah, it's more so like it feels only necessary when it's that character's vibe. Mm-hmm. This is why I had the issue in Bullet Train with the one character that just called everybody the B word after everything she said, because it felt like that character would never do that either. Like it just felt weird.
I remember, yeah.
But like something with like Steve Zissou, he doesn't care. The dude carries a gun. He cusses. It's Bill freaking Murray.
Yes, he kills all the pirates. Yeah. This man's a legend. He can say whatever he wants.
Bro, Bill Murray is so goated. That dude's awesome.
Yeah, that's such a bummer that that situation that he couldn't be in the movie. But I mean, like, I wouldn't have known unless you brought that up.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, obviously for the big heads out there, I'm sure that was the first thing they noticed.
Yeah. Where's Bill Murray?
Yeah.
I had no.
For you and me, it's like, I mean, whatever.
I had no idea there was a meta behind that between him and Wes Anderson. I never knew about that.
He's very much that kind of director that stays to his own people, and I think that's also because he knows how picky he can be. Mm-hmm. That he's just like, I've already worked with them before. I'm just gonna keep reusing them.
Yeah, I mean, well, when you find actors that you really vibe with, too, and they vibe with you, like you know the potential behind them. You don't have to relearn how to work with a specific actor again because every actor is different. Yeah. So why wouldn't you, if they're available, why wouldn't you work with them again? Yeah, like I totally respect that.
It's like Quentin Tarantino not using Leo. It's like, bro, Leo's your guy.
Yeah.
Gotta use Leo.
We're gonna bring him back in. We've worked together before. We mesh very well. We're gonna do it again. That's just how it works.
Yeah. Or Tim Burton using that one girl, his life partner, or whatever. I can't.
Helena Bonham Carter.
Yeah, like it's like him using her. Or Johnny Depp too. Like he's like, nope, I know exactly.
These two are in it. Easy.
I can cast him. I've already written this with them in mind.
Yep, done. It's simple.
Yeah, I do love that. I love that when directors have their people. Yeah, it's like it just works so well.
Yeah, especially with the content that Wes Anderson writes is so different too. It's all very original, and so none of these actors that you've seen in other movies of his are doing anything remotely similar. It feels like. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm incorrect on that because I haven't seen all of his movies. I want to go on a crusade of watching all his movies now. But from my understanding of them, at least so far, the vibe of the characters that these actors play are so different and unique. I mean, I don't know if they would keep taking the roles if they were all the same, right?
Right.
But I guess maybe that's incorrect because money, but
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah, but I think all the acting was great, though, in this. I mean, I can't think of anybody in there that I didn't really enjoy.
Yeah.
The only person I didn't necessarily... Look, I'm not a big Scarlett Johansson fan.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, I think she did great, and she's an amazing actress. I just don't like the typecast that she usually is.
And what? So like what's the typecast that you're referring to with her?
I feel like she's always just like I don't know. It's let me look up Scarlett Johansson movies. Let me look this up because I know I've felt this way with her before. Like the way she is in all the Avengers movies, they always portray her as like way more important than she is, and that's the vibe I always get off of her. But like I know she thinks like I'm really not that important, but everybody else hypes me up to be way more important than I am.
Yeah.
Like she's very like subtle with the stuff that she does.
Interesting.
She's also in Jojo Rabbit too, and I think that's kind of a very similar, like she has the same kind of tone that she talks with in this one. It's very just kind of like dry almost. But yeah, I don't know. Just her in general, I'm just not crazy for. But I still think she's great. It's no disrespect. And it's not going to knock a point off for me in any way for this movie. I just personally, if I had to pick a character I didn't like, it was probably her character.
Interesting.
But again, I don't relate to it in any way.
Yeah, I think that would be the thing for me is that I didn't.
The Sigma Alpha grind mindset that she's got is beyond my belief.
Of course.
It goes leagues beyond me, bro. I'm out here on Steve Carell level. I'm just happy to be here.
I'm
trying to sell.
Happy to be here.
I
purchased I have my Cantina machine to keep me drunk, and it's great.
Yeah, dude. No, I mean all the cast though was great. It was a big cast.
Yeah, and it is very hard for me to think of a character that I did not enjoy.
No, they're all,
because I think everyone killed it.
They all did amazing.
This is one of those movies that like I am struggling to find critique points on it. I think the main critique I have of this movie is that by the end there will be some people who are just like, I don't get it. That was over the top. There will be those people because there is a certain point where it's like, all right, this is bizarre. This is the part where you lose the people. Yes, yeah, I understand.
I don't get it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's probably one of the only downsides, I guess, to having such open, what would you call it, like open-ended theories of how the movie, like what the message is.
Yeah.
That's probably the only downside, is that for some people, they like just a straight direct message, which again, that's just the way you enjoy movies. Like that's literally my mom. My mom is a very like, I just need the story just straight up. Just tell me what it is. I don't like open endings. That's how my mom is.
Yeah.
And so like that, again, that's the thing with Wes Anderson, why it's like a love-hate relationship for some. Some people hate that it's so open-ended. Just give me the freaking answer.
Yeah.
Type it on the screen, please. Which you're right, that ending with the alien, that's gonna
be the turn-off point.
Oh, for sure.
For many people. Some people, the turn-off point might be going from the black and white biography to the actual vibrant play and going back and forth and being like, what is happening?
Yeah, I could also see some of the writing being, I mean, the writing is great the way they're telling the story, but there are some moments where they're talking very scientifically, they're very, very scientist.
Yeah.
And they start getting into like the nerdy side of like the astrology that they're into.
That is another point of like, okay, you have potential to lose people here.
It lost me for a little bit, I'm not going to lie. Like there were some points where like when it was all the kids, I was just like, all right, they're all going to just big brain right now. And I like when they did the game, the Cleopatra, they started.
Yeah, they're playing that.
I was like, bro, you're losing me. I don't know.
Playing their weird name game, and that was like a 3-minute scene of them doing that, and we're just like, okay, you as an audience are trying to keep track of the names too, and like I don't even know the second one. Who are you saying?
I don't even know why we're saying the names.
Why are we saying the names?
Yeah, what is the theme? What is the theme of the names? I'm so historical figures.
No, I don't think there was any. I think it was literally just a memorization game, a memory game. And so they were trying to pull. They had to be a real person they named, and they had to
keep remembering.
And you would get out
Yeah.
if you didn't memorize all of them, which is why they were coming up with such extreme names.
Yeah, some of that stuff when they start getting into that,
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like, all right. Some of this dialogue it's very heavy worded, big words thrown around at me. Relax.
Yeah.
To get me back to the color. I like the colorful part.
I did love with that memorization scene, that memory game. It did last for like 2 or 3 minutes, and one of the kids straight up goes, because they're all brainiacs, they're all nerds and super smart, and it's just continuing on forever. And one of them goes, I don't think this game works for us.
Yeah, I don't think this works.
And it's like the audience is going, yes, that is correct.
Yeah, the thing one of the things I do love about Wes Anderson is the way he portrays like children as just like little humans with a bit more, I guess, innocence, kind of, but like understanding how the world works. Like the little girls are pretty innocent, right? But they still are referencing, like, they're not sheltered, they're just innocent.
Yeah.
But because they're like, we're gonna raise mom back from the dead because we're 3 witches. You know what I mean? Like, it's like they understand real life things. They just are very innocent to all of it.
Right.
As to where we have the teenagers, they're not just that's the one thing I love. He doesn't write them all like super angsty. I gotta rebel. It's just
That's true. I wasn't mad that any of the kids are teenagers in this movie.
because they're just real kids. They're just like they're smart kids. They're literally brainiacs. They have no need to be rebellious little turds like that.
Right.
Like when they expose the truth about the aliens, it's not out of rebellion. It's legit. Just the world needs to know. Mm-hmm. I'm smart enough to understand that we could just get this stuff out there. And people would just need to know.
Yeah.
So I do love the way he portrays them that way.
Man, I didn't even realize. I actually enjoyed all of the kids and teenagers in this movie. That's
because it's the way
unreal
he writes
to me.
It's the way he writes them. It doesn't make them all annoying, angsty teens.
Yeah, and having to make them stupid in order to drive the plot. Which
Exactly.
these kids
Dumb them.
actually drove the plot without being dumb or rebellious.
Yeah. Like you didn't see them. Like, they were smart the whole time. There was never a point where the son was like, I'm mad that my mom died, so I'm going to go piss off the alien in a moment of relapsed judgment. It's like, no, I'm smart enough to know, like, we could logically figure this out and what they're here for.
Yeah.
We
Dude,
invented a freaking jetpack.
This may have gotten more points for me of realizing that. What a breath of fresh air this movie was. Oh my gosh. All right, should we bring in the banana meter?
Ah, yes. You want to bring him in? Come on, boy.
Bro, they've been crazy recently.
Ooh.
Oh god, I haven't even.
Oh, hold on. Get back
Hold on.
Okay. The song. Amazing.
Dear alien.
Dear alien. What is it? It's
what was it called?
They were like they were like saying like a prayer, but it was to the alien.
They legit in the Act 3. Oh my gosh, everyone has to see this movie. I'm gonna make everyone I know see this movie. In Act 3, one of the children, after they all learn about the presence of aliens, one of the kids writes a song that's like a crazy Western song, and they all perform it and just start like having a whole party. It's called Dear Alien Who Art in Heaven.
Yeah, Dear Alien Who Art in Heaven.
It's a prayer, and then everyone gets in on it.
That's right. It's like the Lord's Prayer, because he's like, you stand there 6 feet tall. Like, he tries to, so funny.
That, oh my gosh, I can't believe we didn't. I can't believe we didn't mention that.
Those group
so
of kids
ridiculous.
Drove nothing to the story other than just being comic relief, and they were so funny every time they showed them.
All of the kids in this movie were ridiculously great. The 3 girls that were constantly convinced they were witches, hilarious. We're all witches. We're good witches, and no, I'm half witch, half alien. Everyone around Grandpa's just like, okay, yes, you're right, of course. Just like so done with it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yep. You are a
okay.
witch.
Yep. Absolutely.
Your mom is dead. So when's she coming back?
Yeah. 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You guys don't even know what 15 minutes is. 15 minutes is 6,200 hours.
Yeah, yep.
Of course. Yes. Thank you, my child.
You know what? Never mind. I take that back. You
Uh-huh.
understand. Yeah. That was great. The song was amazing. Those group of kids were so funny. Every time he said the prayer, thank you, Lord, for the mustard. Thank you, Lord, for the onions. Thank you, Lord, for the relish. Thank you, Lord, for the ketchup. Thank you, Lord.
Head count to shut him up.
I
man.
loved it. I loved it. I thought like the thing with and that was a nice thing I enjoyed too. There's a breath of fresh air. I don't want to get into like, your religious beliefs and what it may be or may not be. But the one thing I found that was so funny is that he poked fun at it, but not in like a making fun of it way.
Yeah.
Like it would like because I get it. Some people they don't believe in anything, and that's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
And some people they believe in it heavy, and any joke is offensive.
Yeah.
I lie on the side that both sides have their own opinions. That's the beauty of this world.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was so funny that they were just like making the little jokes.
There were just constant little things about religion that would come up. The praying, and like I've grown up Christian my entire life, and I remember like in youth group growing up, people learning how to pray. And some people they would lead the prayer, and it's literally, okay, I have to mention every single thing I've ever been grateful for right now.
Yep.
So that
That
little kid, totally accurate.
Yes, there's always that one kid. And I think it's great because there's the jokes to the people who aren't religious. They'll just be like, oh my God, this is so funny, like how annoying. And then there's us who who are religious, and it's like, yeah, that's accurate. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
It's just a real person. So funny.
Augie trying to explain the concept of death to his kids, and he's starting to talk about like my parents when Dad died, my mom tried to tell me that he was in the stars, and then we got into a whole debate, and he talking about heaven with his little girls, and he's like, luckily We'll just say for right now she's in heaven. Luckily, you guys are Episcopalian, so you guys will be in heaven with her. I won't be.
He's like,
and then we move on.
Whatever. I understand. He's like, but for me, obviously, there is no heaven. But for you guys, it's great. Yeah. I think that goes into a deeper layer of that character's depth of his understanding is like, well, my kids are gonna take it great because they believe in heaven, so they're not as worried. For me, I don't believe in anything. So like, what is anything? Yeah. That's where his existential crisis starts coming in.
The life struggle happens there. All right, we need to let's get them in. Let's get them in.
Woo, banana, woo.
Yeah.
I'm an alien. Woo, banana,
Wow.
alien.
Okay, they're all stacking up on top of each other.
Look at them. They're going woo, 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 boom, boom, boom. Oh yeah, look at them. They're jumping on it. Yeah, one after the
Okay.
other.
Wow. This is.
Yeah, ta-da!
They're creating a wall. We're currently locked in here now because it. All right.
Ooh, alien. Ooh, banana.
Great.
Can
Can you put the
banana?
Can you put the banana down?
Banana.
Wow, they're changing their voices.
Ooh, banana.
Thank you.
Wow.
I like the range. Thank you,
Yeah,
buddy.
I
Just set it down.
Okay. Okay.
All right. They're just gonna keep staying super stacked right
just
here.
let them be.
Just let them be. All right, stay there. All right, Ricky, what you thinking?
I thought this was a great movie. I'm trying to think of anything I didn't like about it. I think, like I said, the alien scene at the end, where the whole meaning of trying to figure out the sleep aspect of it for their characters, and what is it? You don't wake up if you never sleep.
You
or something
can't
like
wake up if you never sleep. I may be swapping it in some way, but it's something about
You can't sleep
waking
if you never
up if you're
wake
never asleep.
Yeah, something like that. That whole scene got a little bit out of hand for me, where I was like, that not necessarily that I didn't like it. I feel like I need to rewatch it though, and for me alone is like, dang, I wish I had just understood what was happening.
Yeah.
So maybe I missed something.
Well, I think it's that was so sudden during it. I think I understand the meaning behind it, but it's one of those scenes that like it can be interpreted multiple ways. I feel like so.
Yeah, and for me, it's harder to understand. But also someone like the dialogue. Again, I think the way that he writes his stories are so well, and I think the dialogue amongst people is so good. But there are some moments where you kind of get lost in the dialogue because you're trying to catch up to what they just said, but the next line has already started.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's also quick too. Like when he starts getting into like science talk, they just flow through it to make it sound smarter.
Yeah.
But when you start breaking down what they're saying in your head, you're like, this all sounds like it's just a bunch of made up words we're saying right now. But that, for me, that part of it is just like, man, it keeps me going. It keeps me thinking about it. But like, sometimes I do wish the dialogue would slow down just a little bit. I'm trying to, hold on. But that's just for me personally, because I'm kind of dumb. But like, I just wish I could slow it down. Like, I can't wait to watch this movie at home and I can re-watch scenes.
Yeah.
That excites me to do. But at least off of just this watch and everything, man, I don't know. I'm having a hard time finding the number here.
Yeah, it's tough, right? There's so much. This movie was very complex.
It's a very complex movie, and I think it's very thought-provoking. I'm just trying to think where I put it, man. It's hard. It's such a strange movie.
If you want to think more on it, I'm pretty sure I got my number.
Yeah, okay. You go ahead.
You want me to do it? All right.
Because I'm just trying to think where I want to land it. Because there's part of me that is just still trying to process the movie and factor in the emotions I felt through it, that it's so hard for me to like just come up with a number immediately.
Yeah. Well, I've been thinking about it. I think I've made it clear that I loved this movie. I think I'm somewhat biased because that type of dry humor is, I've always been like this. That is, I love that so much, and I wish I knew that this was what Wes Anderson stuff was like earlier. So that alone really hit me hard. I enjoyed that a lot. I think I do think that the only thing that kind of takes away from this movie for a lot of people will be the end, that weird scene with the alien in the lecture hall and that chanting thing that we've mentioned multiple times. So I think that's going to detract from some people. But that said, I'm going to recommend this movie to every single person I know because it is so fun to watch. I don't think I really struggle to think of an issue with any of the dialogue that happened. It's bizarre, but there's so much to take away from this movie that there's someone you'll relate to, and I think that's powerful.
Yeah.
That I think this is worth the watch for anyone. So for that, I think I'm going to give it a 95. I want to see it again. I might actually go rewatch it in theaters soon.
You should. I mean,
because it was so fun, and there's I'm just thinking back to it, and I love the quotes that I can remember. I love the scenes that I can remember already, and I want to see it again. I usually don't care enough to go see a movie again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a good number. I'm close. I'm close to there.
Okay.
For me, it's not my favorite Wes Anderson movie.
Okay. You have more to compare it to.
Yeah. Because the thing I love about all of his movies is there's always some character that's like completely off, like on brand to just,
like normal?
Normal, I guess, is probably the better way to put it. Like, there's always that one normal character that kind of makes everything else around it seem way more ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And I think with this movie, that character was actually the writer. But we just don't get enough of him to feel like he's actually there as the normal person, right?
Yeah.
Because every time we go back to the explaining the writer, it's always third person via Bryan Cranston. So, like, everybody's delivering their lines super dry because we're in the play for most of the movie. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's probably why I'm just taking so long to process that emotionally.
Yeah.
I like the number at like a good like 90 for this movie. Yeah. I loved it. I think it was a great movie. I just need some time to think about it, and I want to rewatch it. And I think after rewatching it, I may change that number completely. That's how I really feel about the movie.
Yeah.
So, but for right now, I'm going to leave it there. I like it there.
Definitely an A tier movie, A status.
Yeah, it's the weirdest 90 I'm giving it because I don't sound as enthusiastic as a 90 should sound, but it's only because I'm still processing.
There's so much to take in from this. Like, honestly, this is one of the episodes where maybe we should have waited a day to record after, but I didn't know we were gonna feel this.
No,
way.
It's good. It's good. This is how it is. It's just, again,
you and I may be texting tomorrow with like totally different opinions on this movie.
Yeah.
Completely changing after we think more on it. That's possible.
It's a very unenthusiastic 90. But I think that's the perfect way to deliver a rating for Wes Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
Something about what I just gave it and the delivery of
It's
it.
very monotone and dry.
I feel like
you did justice.
I feel like I did justice in my own way.
That was the correct way to deliver your line there. I'm proud of you.
Yeah,
I think you should audition for Wes Anderson's next movie.
I just think that if we're seeing the true color red, then how come when it's spelt backwards it's dir?
Because it may as well be dirt. Facts. The little bell music.
Yeah. I think he made The Grand Budapest Hotel, and that's one movie I haven't seen that I know is like literally everybody's favorite movie.
Yeah. I have heard majority just great things about all his movies, so
Somebody got mad because I said that, but whatever.
Dude, our whole episode, someone's mad, and that's fine. I like that.
Look, man, somebody's going to always be mad, but at the end of the day, Transformers was movie of the year, and there's nothing that'll change my mind, so anybody who disagrees with that, you can have your own thoughts and opinions.
Right. Of course.
You can have your own thoughts and opinions, and that's all I've been trying to convey since day one of this show, is that your thoughts and your opinions are your own, and they're valid to you.
Except they're wrong.
But to me, they're wrong. But that's the beauty of it, and you should respect my opinion of it. No. Drop the mic.
Thank you so much for listening to Straight Dude Date Night. We do hope you enjoy. I highly recommend this movie to everyone. Go watch this movie. This is worth the watch. It is so much fun. I think 99% of people who see this movie are gonna really like it.
It's a great movie. It's a very dry 90.
Yeah. And in regards to our show, we appreciate the support from everyone. We still have so much fun making this. We're coming up on a year, which is crazy. And we got some exciting stuff we got planned. So be sure that you're following us on Spotify and following us on all the social medias if you're not already. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to us on YouTube, all that good stuff. And tell a friend about the show. That would be great. Other than that, Ricky?
We got big ideas and big plans and not enough time or resources to do them.
Yeah.
So recommend the show to your buddies. I don't want financial gain. I just want to be able to do fun stuff with you, David, and then tell everybody about it because we have a good time doing what we do.
Same.
And I think people will, even if they weren't there, will enjoy it just as much as if they were.
Yeah.
And hearing us describe it.
Yeah.
So that being said, give me your money.
Give us your money. Give Ricky your money. He'll funnel it into the show. This is a constant. He's got a gun pointed to the microphone right now.
2 guns.
Yep,
Finger
2 guns. So just, again, I mean, we say it every time. Send him some money via Cash App. Just leave a comment on any of our posts, and he'll give you his Cash App. So
we're grateful for everybody that listens. I'm grateful. For everybody
absolutely.
You guys are the best.
And on that note, thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoy. Have a great day and have a great week. Bye-bye.